For those of you planning to travel to Europe in 2024, there's soon going to be an additional document that you'll need to have with you when visiting certain countries. This new document is what is called an ETIAS, which stands for European Travel Information and Authorization System. So what is this system and how will it affect you? Well, this system has actually been in the works for some years now, but has kept getting delayed. This system will be designed to check the security credentials and charge a fee to travelers visiting EU member countries for either business, tourism, medical, or transit purposes, and will be required for citizens from over 60 visa-exempt countries. So which European countries will require an ETIA? Here's the current list, and as you can see, the UK, Scotland, Ireland are not on here. The UK is actually coming out with their own version of this, which will be called the Electronic Travel Authorization, or ETA for short, which should also launch sometime in 2024 as well. Here's what you need to know about ETIA. First, it is not a visa, but rather a visa waiver or pre-travel authorization. So if you're from a country that currently requires a visa to enter the EU, this does not replace the required visa. This is only for those countries that are visa exempt for entering the EU. Another important thing to note is that the ETIA will be linked to your passport. So there shouldn't be an actual physical document or email that you'll need to show, but rather the information will be displayed on your passport once it is scanned at customs and immigration. The authorization will be valid for up to 3 years or until your passport expires, whichever comes first, and you'll be allowed to enter the 30 listed European countries as often as you want for short-term stays up to 90 days in any 180-day period. It's important to note that even if you have the authorization, it does not guarantee you entry into the country and will require a border guard to review your passport and other documents to verify you meet the entry conditions. Also, if you get a new passport, you will need to get a new ETIA. So who needs an ETIA travel authorization? You need an ETIA if you meet the following criteria. 1, you're not an EU national. 2, you're a citizen of a country whose nationals are not required to have a visa for short-term stay in the European countries requiring ETIAs. And number 3, you do not have a residence permit, card, or document issued by any of the European countries requiring an ETIA. If you meet the criteria for needing an ETIA, then here's what information you'll need to apply. Number 1, your full name, date, place of birth, nationality, home address, parents' first names, email address, and phone number. Number 2, your travel plans. Number 3, your level of education and current occupation. Number 4, details about any criminal convictions, any past travels to war or conflict zones, and whether you have recently been subject of a decision requiring you to leave the territory of any country. Number 5, you also need to confirm that you understand the entry conditions to the territories of the European countries requiring ETIAS, and that you may be requested to provide the relevant supporting documents each time you cross the external border. Number 6, if someone is submitting the application on your behalf, that person will have to provide their surname, first name, the name and contact details of the organization or firm if applicable, as well as information on the relationship to you, and a confirmation that this person and you have signed the Declaration of Representation, which I will have linked down in the description. Number 7, applications for minors under the age of 18 must be submitted by a person exercising permanent or temporary authority or legal guardianship. In order to complete the application, there will be a fee that you'll need to pay, which will be €7. You'll be able to use a variety of online payment options to pay the fee, and anyone who is under 18 or over 70 years of age will be exempt from having to pay the fee. Also exempt are family members of EU citizens or non-EU nationals who have the right to move freely throughout the European Union. What else should you know about ETIA? You should apply for an ETIA well in advance. It is recommended you apply before buying your ticket or booking your accommodation. Most applications will be processed within minutes and the latest within 96 hours. However, some applicants may be asked to provide additional information, which may take up to an additional 30 days. When you apply for an ETIA, you are required to indicate the first country you intend to stay in. Once you have your travel authorization in hand, you can change your plans. The system allows you to start an application and come back to it later, but it'll only be held for 48 hours. Make sure your passport is valid for 3 months after your intended departure from the EU countries. And if you're traveling with your family or a large group, it'll only be possible to submit individual applications, and that is because each ETIA will be linked to the travel document of each individual traveling. I'll have links to a bunch of resources if you need more information and to access the application down in the video description. As of the date of this video's release, the ETIAS is not up and running yet, but be sure to check back to the links to see if you'll need to apply for a travel authorization before your next European trip. Feel free to post any questions you have about the ETIAS. I'll do my best to answer them, as this is a brand new system to me as well. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you again in a future video.